to the Get Out Those Old Records podcast with your hosts, Sooltime and Funnybone. Hello and Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Get Out Those Old Records. I'm Sooltime, and I'm joined by Funnybone. Funnybone, are you there?
I'm here.
And we are super excited to get the party started tonight. If you're watching live on YouTube, welcome to our live stream. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, thanks for tuning in, one and all. And we have a nice lineup of tunes tonight. And we are going to introduce a new section in our podcast to let you know what we're drinking. Right now, I'm not drinking anything. I'm empty-handed. How about you, Funnybone? Do you have anything?
I am also empty-handed. I got some water, but well,
that doesn't count. We're going to have to rectify that situation shortly here. But before we do, I'd like to launch into our celebration of the New Year's here. And this is really special. The last 3 episodes we did were Christmas specials, and this is just as amazing to be able to broadcast live. We don't take the technology for granted 1 minute to be able to bring some of this great music and interact with our friends, family, and so on and so forth. We are going to kick off tonight's episode with a song by Billy Ward and his Dominoes. It's a 1953 record entitled Ringing in a Brand New Year. It was written by Billy Ward. Released in 1953, as I said, the same year that lead singer Clyde McPhatter left the group. He left the Dominoes to form another group called the Drifters. Some of you may have heard of them. And McPhatter was replaced pretty quickly by none other than Jackie Wilson, another great voice, a great soul, some great dance moves too, I might add. So without any further ado, we are going to be ringing in a brand new year, Billy Ward and the Dominoes.
At the stroke of midnight on that great holiday, gonna have a ball, and that's not all. I'm gonna chase the blues away. I'll be ringing in a brand new year. I'll be ringing in a brand new year. Gonna dance, gonna dance, take a dance with romance while I'm ringing in a brand new year. It's gonna be a big parade. Got my resolutions made. Listen, dear, won't you meet me here while I'm ringing in a brand new year? Gonna ride a bubble way up above the stars. Maybe while I twirl above the world, I'm gonna take a little trip to Mars. I'll be ringing in a brand new year. I'll be ringing in a brand new year. Gonna dance, gonna prance, take a chance on romance while I'm ringing in a brand new year. Gonna be a big parade. Got my resolutions made. Listen, dear, won't you meet me here while I'm ringing in a brand new year? Sailing down a rainbow, I'll flirt with Lady Moon. If she breathes a sigh or winks her eye, well then I won't get back till June. I'll be ringing in a brand new year. I'll be ringing in a brand new year. Gonna dance, gonna prance, take a dance of romance while I'm ringing in a brand new year. Gonna be a big parade. Got my resolutions made. Listen, dear, won't you meet me here? Listen, dear, won't you meet me here? Listen, dear, won't you meet me here? I'm ringing in a brand new year.
A slam bang finish there from Billy Ward and his Dominoes on the Get Out Those Old Records podcast with your host Sooltime here. Funnybone, do you have anything for us this happy ending to an awful year here in 2020?
Not too awful, as it was the inaugural year of Get Out Those Old Records podcast.
Yeah, you got that
What a
right.
great way to ring in and bring in a new podcast and a new year. Up next, we have an all-time New Year's classic, Happy New Year by ABBA, recorded in 1980, originally off their Super Trooper album. As with most content by ABBA, it was written and produced by the two male members, Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ulvaeus. And the song's working title was a little bit more humorous. It was known as Daddy Don't Get Drunk on Christmas Day before becoming a New Year's anthem. So I think you'll notice in the lyrical content, it's got quite a different feel. The song charts in the top 100 or 200 of all sorts of European countries in just about every year since it was released as a single in 1999. And of course, since then, and here on Spotify, you can find it in just about every New Year's playlist. It seemed only appropriate to include here.
The music tracks that play here have been removed to avoid penalty under current copyright policies and enforcement strategies.
Happy New Year. It takes my breath away every time. Those tracks by ABBA.
Benny and Bjorn's production, arguably at its best at that time. What a lush song!
Yeah, it's what is that? 1980, right? Probably coming up on their pinnacle. So we go from ABBA. We're going to go back in time a little bit, a few years here, to the next track we have lined up for you. It's by a band called Pilot, and they had a big hit back in the early 70s with a song called Magic. This one's in 1975 after their hit. It's called January, and I chose it for obvious reasons. The name January suggests the first month of the new year. However, I discovered an interview with David Patton, who wrote it. It was produced by Alan Parsons. And the interview revealed that it's not about the month at all. In fact, the inspiration was from the name of a female protagonist in a book his wife was reading at the time, and she suggested the name January is a really good name for a girl, and it stuck in his head, and he started writing the song. And so he talks about January as if it's this woman, and but the rest of the verses he explains are really about his post hit experience with magic and how it opened up a whole new world for him, and expressing the feeling of success. But if you listen to it, it is appropriate for a New Year's song, I think. It's got this optimism and upbeat feeling, just like the start of a new year. Let's give it a listen. This is January by Pilot.
The music tracks that play here have been removed to avoid penalty under current copyright policies and enforcement strategies.
Nice bit of Scott pop there from the band Pilot with January, and I feel very appropriate for the feeling we have coming out of 2020 and going into 2021 here. What do you think, Funnybone?
Oh, another great uplifting song there, and in the chat I highlighted just another wonderful production on that record, up there with Benny and Bjorn before. It's very fitting.
I would agree. The strings are very tasteful, and you can't beat those delectable guitar riffs from lead guitarist Ian Berenson. They're just perfect. Work of art.
And the hand claps, of course.
Oh, of course.
We love hand claps.
Yeah, I think any song with hand claps in it, I'm there, man. I'm sold. I'm a sucker for hand claps.
Featured next, sadly, contains no hand claps, but it does contain a whole lot of New Year cheer. Unrelated to ABBA and Benny and Bjorn's classic Happy New Year, this is a song titled Happy New Year by Leith Stevens, released in 1962. It was written by Leith Stevens and produced by Stu Phillips for the soundtrack to the movie The Interns, also released in 1962. This song's a little bit of a change of pace. It's going to be a fun and jazzy big band song, as you might expect a sort of musical soundtrack to be like. A little bit on the writer and composer here. Leith Stevens was a child prodigy pianist and a career film and television composer. He worked on a handful of productions throughout the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Notably, the 1953 War of the Worlds he did the score for.
Nice.
He also worked on the original Lost in Space TV series as a musical director and supervisor. And interestingly enough, he also worked as a musical supervisor on the first 2 seasons of The Brady Bunch before he passed on far too soon in 1970. The producer, Stu Phillips, also a career industry in film and television music, notably, as they were featured in previous episodes of Get Out Those Old Records, Stu Phillips worked on the Monkees television series as a musical director for that.
That's how I know his name.
Yeah.
The credits.
Without further ado, I hope you all enjoy Happy New Year, Leith Stevens.
All right, we are going to pause for station identification to follow up that great tune by Leith Stevens. What a wild song. And I definitely need to check out that movie, The Interns. But before we move on to our next track, I'd just like to remind everybody you're listening to Get Out Those Old Records, a podcast hosted by myself, Sooltime, and Funnybone. And we are broadcasting live here on our YouTube channel. You can also find us afterwards on Spotify if you have a Spotify account. Look for our podcast there. So in keeping with the movie theme here this evening, I'd like to introduce a song written by Irving Berlin, and it appeared first in the movie Holiday Inn, starring Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire. And this song is called Let's Start the New Year Off Right. And it features Bing on vocals with Bob Crosby and his orchestra. And if you're wondering, Bob Crosby definitely is Harry Crosby, a.k.a. Bing Crosby's younger brother. This was also interestingly released as the B-side to the classic White Christmas when it first came out in 1942. So here, let's see if we can't start the new year off right with Let's Start the New Year Off Right.
The music tracks that play here have been removed to avoid penalty under current copyright policies and enforcement strategies.
A voice like Corinthian leather, that's Bing Crosby, with Let's Start the New Year Off Right. Let's say we do that.
And there's no better way to start the new year off than with Bing and Get Out Those Old Records.
That's true.
For our next song, we have the third appropriately titled Happy New Year. And no, this is not the same Happy New Year from ABBA and Benny and Bjorn, nor the Happy New Year from Leith Stevens. This is Happy New Year by Beverly Martin, recorded in 1966. The song was written by a younger Randy Newman prior to his career as a solo artist, his first album being released in 1969 and thereabouts. Beverly's an English musician, and this song was released as a single on Duram Records, which was a subsidiary of Decca Records in the United Kingdom. Interestingly enough, this track is accompanied by Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin fame on guitar and bass, respectively, as well as acclaimed pianist and electric piano player Nicky Hopkins and Andy White on drums.
Oh my gosh. That's like an all-star studio lineup right there.
So, for the third unique time, Happy New Year.
Distance sounds low. The night's a little colder.
Well, man, that was just tearing it up there. The who's who of British A-class musicians of the 60s, like a super group banging it out there. Nicky Hopkins playing like it's the last song he's ever going to record, it sounded like.
Oh, they were just having fun in there.
Firing on all cylinders, yeah. The bass work, I'm assuming John Paul Jones was on the bass.
That is John Paul Jones on the bass.
Just pounding away. I love it. Love it. Well done. Let's see. What do we have next here? We started the new year off right, and we've wished everybody a happy new year. Not once, not twice, but 3 times so far. The next song is by the Zombies. It's a 1968 release off of their concept effort called Odyssey and Oracle, which if you haven't listened to yet, you need to. It's on Spotify. There's no excuses. So it was recorded in 1967, this track, but the album didn't come out until 68. Written by Chris White. I'm a huge fan of Chris White, bass player and producer. And the name of the track is This Will Be Our Year. Now, this song has made a lot of New Year's playlists, I noticed, and made me a little hesitant to include it here, but the Zombies are just too great not to include. I also learned that this song's played at weddings quite a bit, and Chris White even performed it at his son's wedding. This is the Zombies, one of my favorite all-time votes for best band ever. This Will Be Our Year.
Sun, and this will be our year. Took a long time to come. Don't let go of my hand now, the darkness has gone. This will be our year. Took a long time to come, and I won't forget the way you helped me up when I was down, and I won't forget the way you said, darling, I love you. You gave me faith to go on. Now we're there, and we've only just begun. This will be our year. Took a long time to come. The warmth of your smile, smile for me, little one. And this will be our year. Took a long time to come. You don't have to worry, all your worry days are gone. And this will be our year. Took a long time to come. And I won't forget the way you helped me up when I was down. And I won't forget the way you said, darling, I love you. You gave me faith to go on. Now we're there, and we've only just begun. This will be our year. Took a long time to come. And this will be our year. Took a long time to come. My, my, my.
A little bit of Zombies there on Get Out the Old Records. Continuing with our Happy New Year edition, episode 3 of our podcast. Funnybone, you got something to close us out here on this beautiful, cold December 31st?
I certainly do. And this next year, 2021, is certain to be our year after that song. What I have to close us out is one of the all-time classic New Year's songs, Ding Dong, Ding Dong, George Harrison, 1974, off the album Dark Horse. It was written, produced by George, and interestingly enough, Harrison took the lyrics from engravings he found at his 19th century home, Friar Park in Oxfordshire, a legacy of its eccentric founder, Frank Crisp, who was a lawyer and a member of the Royal Microscopical Society in England. The Royal Microscopical Society were essentially microscope enthusiasts in England, and like many hobbies, there was a Royal Society for it.
Only in Oxfordshire, right?
I'm sure he hosted many microscope parties and
yes.
New Year's parties as well.
Absolutely.
The engravings that Frank left behind for George to later be inspired by had actually been copied from a favorite poem of Frank Crisp's, Ring Out Wild Bells by Alfred Lord Tennyson. And so he hasn't quite said in any interviews or anything. The song is believed to be an attempt to sort of get on the same ground and maybe get one of those, we mentioned it in the last episode, one of those elusive Christmas number ones in the UK. And you can hear it in this record. It's certainly inspired by Merry Christmas Everybody by Slade, or I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day by Wizard. And naturally, it's also believed that the song was partially influenced and inspired by the success of his former bandmate John Lennon's holiday smash hit, Merry Christmas, War Is Over. Of course, this song never achieved the same height as the aforementioned singles, but it's still a wonderful way to celebrate the holiday season nonetheless. As you might have expected from a George Harrison production in 1974, it's got a star-studded backing cast, including Alvin Lee from 10 Years After, Ronnie Wood of the Rolling Stones and Faces, and Mick Jones, a Foreigner, all contributing on guitars. We've got Ringo on drums, and frequent collaborator with all the Beatles, Klaus Voormann, on bass.
Yes, Klaus.
So ring out the old, bring in the new. Ding dong, George Harrison.
1, 2.
ring out the old, ring in the new with George Harrison, Brother George laying it down. I don't know. Maybe it's because we're listening to the remastered version here, or maybe it's the new headphones I got for Christmas. But George, you can really hear George's voice in that. He went through that period of a sort of a gritty sounding voice. He was probably singing wrong for a lot of years.
Yep.
It's that period of time. But man, just the feeling in that, and again, great production there from George.
Oh, I love those little stabbing guitar licks at them. With all the guitarists on the track, I don't know who was responsible for it, but
right,
man, it just sounds so nice, so gritty.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's our last tune we're bringing you here on our Happy New Year edition celebration. Really, at this point, I'd just like to extend a heartfelt thanks to everybody who's supported us and come out and listened to the live broadcast, and shout out to Fractious Heart and Daniel and Catherine and Sally Bug. Also, I got some podcasting gear for Christmas this year. Thank you so much. This is great. I feel like an actual podcaster at this point. And like you alluded to before, Funnybone, it hasn't been that bad of a year in many respects. Challenging, very challenging. One thing you could hope for with a year like 2020 is that it brings some people together. I know it's been tough and challenging for a lot of people, but always try to accentuate the positive here at Get Out the Old Records. And certainly music has helped us do that. And podcasting certainly has helped us do that as well.
Absolutely. And if anything, what 2020 has inspired us to do is not just podcasting, but to get out those old records.
Absolutely. We're going to get them out here. But before we do, before we leave town, if you like this sort of thing, definitely subscribe or like us on YouTube. And you can reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. And my cohort here says, get out those old records, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Keep your ear to the ground and your stick on the ice. It is time to always get out those old records. Goodbye, everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Get out those old records, those old gramophone records, the ones we used to play so long ago. What if they sound scratchy? The tunes really were catchy, and especially those that said, I love you so. I used to beg you over and over just to set the wedding day, to get you quotable, bring my portable, and melt your heart away with all those old records, those old gramophone records, the ones we used to play so long ago.
Get out those old
All the ones about moon,
those old
and the ones about June, I
the
know.
ones we used to play so long ago.
Oh, do-de-oh-do.
What if they sound
Songs of Sally and Kate,
the tune
and the rusty old gate.
and especially those that said I love you so.
Listen, hit your coo, hit your coo.
I used to beg you over and over just to set the wedding day.
To get me courtable, you bring your portable to melt my heart away.
With all those old records, those old records, the ones we used to play so long ago. Joy-oh, joy-oh.
Here we go. Remember all the songs about Sister Kate?
Kitten on the keys in the garden gate.
Yes, Southern Fried Chicken and Dear Old Mammy.
Take me right back to Alabama.
I used to begged you over and over just to set the wedding day. To get you portable, I'd bring my portable and melt your heart away with all those old wonderful records. Those old records, the ones we used to play so long ago. The ones we used to play so long ago. So long ago. It's wonderful, man. Sure.